Hey everybody, going to paint on a comic book. It's an ash can sized comic book. This one is mine, Occult Descent Volume 2. Show a couple pages here from the comic. These are a couple of my favorites, of course, because they're some of the last ones done. I feel like the last work that I do is typically the best. But yeah, let's paint a remark on this. All right, now back at my art table. It's only like a few feet away. I just have my camera. I mean, that's what I'm recording with, right? My camera is on my phone, and that's what I'm recording with. I have it on it's like a swivel. It's, I don't know. Like it swivels around, has like two or three different joints on it. However, it's like right in front of my face at my art table, so I kind of scoot back a few feet, um, closer to the frames on my wall. One of them is I did a video showing it. Um, Blood Force Mitch, his it's a double page spread, cover spread for issue. I want to say it was issue 6. Um, it's on in PDF form, I believe, or I don't know if he converted over to PDF yet. In any case, I mean, I got it now. It looked pretty cool. I backed it on his Kickstarter, so I think it's like the first thing I've ever framed of original art. And then the other one is David Finch from his Kickstarter of Monday Night Draws sketchbook. It's I think I pronounce it Jick Clay. It's basically a print, but I thought it was cool because he only made 37 of them of his original characters. I was getting a little bored of drawing Sakal all the time. That's why the last one was his face because I wanted to like actually get some details, and then the one before that was um, the vampire Lieutenant Wycheck. Uh, and then I was like, well, I mean, if I'm gonna do, I didn't want to do Sakal again, so I figured I would draw Andy, and I was using. I wanted to like get some perspective in there to make the figure look like it's kind of popping out at you. However, like the farther I got into this, I'd end up not going with this idea because it was just starting to look too goofy. Like she's gonna have a mean face, and then she's got like a how the gun is awkwardly shaped. It just looked weird. So I was trying to white it out with the marker thing. The white for the markers, these acrylic markers, I got a cheap version, and I got the the brand name, the Artex, and both of them don't the ink form, the acrylic ink, whatever, is not very thick. It's like really runny. Some of them, like no, not the red one so much, but yeah, some of these markers you use them like that green covers up really well. There's a kind of a dark brownish gray that I used for her shoulder pads. That one covers up really well. It's like super thick, and that's why I also did a bunch of layers on her face because I didn't want that the cult descent cover black and white lines coming through her face. I was noticing that on a few of the remarks I did. Sometimes I think it's cool, like when I was doing uh, Sakal, he's because I don't know, it kind of makes his face look a bit more grittier. But Andy's a chick, so I just wanted to like flatten all that out as much as I could, and I didn't want to start paint drawing in her face with a one of the marker pens. So I used another acrylic thing. You've seen me do this. If you watch the other remark videos, you see me use this thing. Uh, for the skin, it works really well, but I was, I don't know, I was having a, it was different when I was doing her vest and her arm because like they're all different colors, and the green and the dark gray they're you can't, they cover up everything underneath it so much that it's basically I have to put down blobs of paint and just hope that I could figure out the details. Like that's what I was doing right there. I was trying to think of what do I go to next. I could have start drawing in the hand details and for the gun because the gun is positioned by her shoulder. But then I didn't want to deal with that yet, so went to the hair. This hair I wanted to at least make the hair, um, as flowing as possible, and kind of some strands going in front of other strands. Since I didn't go ahead with that forced perspective drawing, I think that's what it's called, forced perspective, foreshortening. My original one I was going to do where the gun's like supposed to be pointed more towards the camera so it gets bigger, and because I think those they make the image pop out more. But this is a remark, and I'm basically using it as practice. It's also so I'm going to give this remark away on the next live stream that I go on, which so that's funny too. Um, I went on a not a live stream, but I was interview stream with Rob Norton like shortly after this, and you'll see at the end that when the light changes, that's because that was after the interview. But I looked at the picture again. I just kind of wanted to make a couple adjustments, and let's see what was I saying before this? Oh, yeah, something about making the figure pop out more. Uh, oh yeah, so since I'm giving these away for free, I'm just kind of using these as like sketch practice with these acrylic markers because I don't want to get too like in depth and just like painstaking about this because I still have to draw the comic book pages. And this one, it did take me because I was getting kind of caught up in that, like when you're drawing and getting in the flow, you just want to pull out more details where you can, or you notice something like the lighting isn't right. So it's like, no, I got to fix this. And at that point, it's like there's basically no stopping you unless you have like a boss. But no one's telling me how to do my comic. So I spent a little bit more time than I wanted to. But it's still sketchy. Like I still want to do more stuff to it, but that's where I'm at right now with these sketchy acrylic markers. I don't. Maybe someday I'll get some paintbrushes and buy the acrylic bottles and start painting like full paintings. I mean, I do imagine see myself doing that at some point, but these are just free practice giveaways, and so far have one backer on my comic. Oh, I should talk about the comic Occult Descent, Volume 2. Back it today on Kickstarter. I'll leave the link in the description below. It is about Henry. He's a troubled teenage kid. Well, first I should mention. I always forget to mention the part where vampires live with humans, like they know vampires exist, but they're not that welcome. And yeah, so in that world is Henry. He's a mentally troubled kid who has a psychopathic ancient mutant vampire Sakal hunting him. Sakal is basically a monster among the normal vampires because he's a mutant. The vampires live about 300 to 400 years. Sakal, he's like at least over 1,000 years old. They don't know how he does it. and he was like locked up. They were like doing tests on him and stuff to figure out how he can do, because he could do a lot more things than that. And but they're trying to figure out how he could do what he can do. But then he breaks out and he's hunting down this kid Henry, and they have a psychic link. It gets stronger as he gets closer. So Henry turns to his friend Andy. That's this gal right here. She's a police detective at the local PD. Before she could really help him, Sakal does abduct Henry. So Andy joins the VACU, that's the law enforcement branch that deals with the vampire attacks, to get Henry back and stop Sakal. Also, the normal vampires, because Sakal's rampaging has given them a bad name, even worse than, like they're already not, they're on the apprehensive terms, and so they devise a way to take care of Sakal as well. So there's like, I don't know, it's all going to come to a head. The VACU, the normal vampires, and then we got Sakal. When he makes vampires, they're like those Dust Till Dawn vampires. They're on this cover here of Occult Descent. They're the ones with the wings. Like normal vampires, they don't have wings in this story anyway. So they're just like, it's like the True Blood vampires versus the Dust Till Dawn vampires, and we got the Starship Troopers Roughnecks as like the VACU, and they're all gonna fight each other. So I think of it as more of a action horror comic as opposed to action horror comic, and there's a little bit of comedy in there too, and nudity and some adult language. So it's not a comic, aimed for kids. So viewer discretion is advised, and parental guidance, all that stuff, of course. So that's the Kickstarter. I believe I already said the link is in the description. It's got a couple weeks left. I don't know when you're watching this, but it's done October 6th, 2026. um, so yeah, the remarks. I did have one person back the remark, and I'll probably actually spend about the same amount of time on this one too, because I want to get the remark, like really nice. I know it's like a sketch and all that, but whoever backs it, they're paying money for that. So I'm gonna do my best. All right, and now let's see what I'm coloring the hair. Oh yeah, so I picked a lighter shade. I believe I went in with the darks first, since these acrylics, they just go right on top of each other. So that's it's a little tough for the blending part with these acrylic markers. Um, I don't know. I guess some other people use these ArtX markers and they blend pretty good, but it's with some colors anyway, like the greens. You'll see, I had a little trouble with blending the greens. The skin tone, that seemed to blend all right for the most part, but I mean, the skin tone for the knockoff brand, the Hobby Lobby, their cheap version, whatever they call that, the Master's Touch markers. So the skin color tones on that, there's, I don't know, it's like a, not really skin tone, I guess, but all the other colors that I do mix with, they mix about the same. I didn't try the greens on that one because they weren't the colors that I wanted. I was doing like a swatch, and the ArtX ones had the greens that I wanted, so I was like, whatever, I'll just blend those. Uh, in any case, that's a long way of me saying that the cheap brands are about the same as the expensive brands. I can't speak on the skin tone portion though, because these they're not really skin tone. They're like orangish, dark peach colored, and then it goes to red. So I only have 24 of those markers. I think I got them for like $5. They were on sale or on clearance. With these ArtX ones, I got 150 of them, but it cost me like $80. Where now I go on eBay and I see that there's like 120 markers and you get them for $40, I believe. So I think I'll go with those next time. And now I'm just filling up the dark green for her vest. There was some spots that were, I don't know when it dries if it kind of cracks or whatever, but there was some spots that I guess I missed. Doing the same thing for her hair. The brown, I'm using the Master's Touch for this one. The, the brown for that, it covers up pretty good, but I just had to go over one more time to cover everything. Um, then I go in and I'll do so I did the dark for the skin tone. I had to layer that, I guess, more than I thought. And now I'm throwing in this isn't the highlight one, but it's like the middle between the highlight and the dark. So I'm just kind of like letting the parts I want highlighted more to dry a little bit before I go over the face like completely. And like it's already watery enough. I don't think I needed to I grab this and I take off a little bit extra of it. Like once it dries, I don't think I needed to do that because it doesn't completely cover the darker, so they blend in all right. Then I went in with I went for more of like a darker pink for the lips, and then for the top lip because that one's usually shadowed. I got a darker, it's like a pinkish purple, but that isn't until later anyway because I forgot about it. Her head is like so small. It's hard to put any details on there. I mean, it's not hard, but it's it's obviously more difficult the smaller the head goes. I'm especially glad that there's no skin tones for this Master's Touch because these markers, the tip on them, it's not as sharp as the Artex. I mean, I suppose, yeah, Artex has that. They have a sharper tip for the markers, and well, both the tips kind of wear down a little bit. But with the Master's Touch, once they wear down, then there's no real tiny details you're gonna do with that, unless I don't know, you figure something out. Like all I could think of off the top of my head is like painting a brush with the this marker. But then if you're doing that, you might as well just buy the acrylic tubes and paintbrushes. And the like I said before, I gotta keep reminding myself that these are sketches or treat them as sketches because they're the freebies, the to entice the backers. Oh yeah, okay. So I am for this remark, the next live stream I go on, it'll be a given away to one of the physical backers, so that way I don't have to pay for shipping. Um, I guess that's the a little bit of enticement to back the physical. But if you don't back physical and you can get the PDF version, I'm cool with that too. I mean, that's awesome. Like anybody that wants to read my comic or support my work, I'm incredibly grateful. And I don't know. I got to figure something else out to possibly help out the backers that back the digital version. Um, I don't know. I might have to do that for the next campaign because this one, at the time of this recording, it's just like I think it's 15 days or 14 days left. So getting this stuff done and trying to promote the word, get the word out of for the Kickstarter, as well as continue making pages so my colorist doesn't catch up to me completely. Which, oh yeah, so my colorist is Tanya Wicker. She's on X. Uh, I'll leave the link of that for her in the description below also. She's like a really good colorist, amazing. And like if I could keep, giving her her work, that would be awesome. But since I can't, and after this she'll be done. Um, Anybody else that needs a colorist, check out her work. It's awesome. 100% recommend from me. Oh, right. Well, where am I at on this painting? Um, oh yeah. So now I'm blending these greens. I was having a bit of a rough time figuring out how to do these greens. I was doing the So this kind of worked for the other colors, except for the green, not so much. I would kind of go back and forth with the lighter. No, with either one, it doesn't matter. I was going back and forth, see like that. I made kind of a puddle. Then I would go in with the next one, and once it dried, I would see how it blended together. I I think it could be done because I mean I do see some blending happening, but maybe I have to do like layers of blending. That's that's more of the experimenting with these acrylic markers. But like I said, with once I get to the other colors, like her shoulder pads, I liked how those turned out, and then her armbands, I liked how those turned out as well with the blending. Also, I wanted to go in with microns and the the Master's Touch, the other marker pens, but the knockoff ones that I do find those ones better. Excuse me. However, I do find that the microns, they are darker, like they're black is like black. And the Master's Touch, it's black, but it's like I don't know, it's like a 10. The microns are like 11 for black. So they got that. Other than that, I would pretty much always use the Master's Touch ones from now on. And I was doing that same technique with the hair as well. I'd do like a try to puddle up some the dark and the lighter version. I didn't put the highlights in the hair just yet. Uh, I do like how the effect happened with the hair and the shade shadow that the hair is doing. To it helps to like I was trying to use with that perspective, like it pops out the figure a bit more. It creates depth. Uh, I did want to like start rendering the crap out of everything, just put like lines everywhere. But I did not. Well, I did a little bit, but I had much more restraint than if how you seen me on my comic book when I'm inking my comic book. Which that I don't mind so much because I do want to like put my all in those comics. I want to. I guess I got kind of got two things going. I want to spot more blacks in the when I'm inking the comics. However, I also want to get some dynamic hatching going, like um I don't know, like the kind that you kind of get lost in and you want to study. Like when I look at work like that, I think that's incredible. So of course I want to produce work like that as well. Um, but whatever. I mean, that's seems to be kind of like I want to simplify my drawing. However, I want to complicate my drawing. I don't know. I guess you gotta experiment with that and just put the different pages call for different things. Different moods, different settings. So we just gotta figure out where to put things where they would embellish like the feeling you're going for. In any case, yeah, I'm gonna keep working on that. I do like how this hair is turning out. I was trying to like pull out as much of these hair details as I could. In fact, I was looking at a for reference for the hair. I was looking at what is this comic? It's a Mark Silvestri. He sort of drew it, and then he had, I think, two other pencilers helping him. It's Evo Endgame Evo 1. I don't know if there's any more comics about it, but it says Endgame. It's 3 of 3. It was tied in with Tomb Raider and Witchblade. So towards the end of there, I believe it was Eric Bassaldua. I believe he was doing the hair. I thought it looked really cool, so I was like, cool. I'm just gonna throw that throw that on this remark here. Um, for as good as I could get it with these tools, anyway. But now it sounds like a blaming the tools. As good as I could get it, anyway. I like it though. I think it turned out pretty good. And let's see. Now I'm darkening up the eyes. I did notice that I thought the eyes might be uh, like one eye is a little more scrunchy than the other one, but I thought it worked all right because her lip is kind of snarling up a bit. So yeah, otherwise I would have went in and like colored it out with, because these things, they correct pretty easily. You just do layers upon layers until you got the thing covered, and then you go over it. I was trying to remember it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I got the reference. Like Andy is like at her bottom left is Andy again on the cover. So I was just looking at her for the reference. I did have to look up the cover though to see which, because I wasn't sure what color her shoulder pads were, but they're basically the same color as her armbands and elbow pads. But where her bicep and tricep area is, that's just like leather, like black leather. So the grays, they don't give you too much for the grays. It's some of it, like you could see some of it looks like it's greenish. It's like a dark green gray. And then there's like a really light colored gray. And there's a dark, like brown gray. It wasn't that great of a selection, but that's what I went with for the leather anyway, the black leather. And for the hands, I used reference for that one. I bought a pack on Gumroad. The the place, well, the people I bought from, because it's a couple, a guy and a girl. They had a pack. It was on sale of hands. It was like hands, ultimate hands reference guide. So they're like holding staffs or uh, bow and arrow, cups, video game controllers, like basically everything you could, uh, that you would need reference for hands, and all that stuff. You can do it yourself. Have a friend like hold some controllers, or if they got like how do they look when they're reading a book. I mean, you could do all that, but I don't know how you are with that stuff, but I get pretty lazy. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to go and go to my friend's place. Hey, could you hold this real quick? I'll take a few pictures of your hands, and that just seems like way too much work. Also, so this is the first time I used that hands package too. Um, I was Otherwise I'd just go to like comic books and scour through till I get a pose that's similar. However, that is pretty painstaking, I guess. And I was like, oh yeah, I have a reference for this. I opened it up, and finally I use it. Had it for like 2 or 3 years, but it's pretty cool. I was looking through it again, and I forgot how much like they have pictures of hands in every direction. So really helpful. I'll probably be using a lot more of those. So that's, yeah, how I was using Oddly enough, now that I think about it, I don't think they had gloves on, like hands wearing gloves while doing this stuff. So, but it's not that hard to imagine the gloves, and so I made her hands. I try to go for that Joe Mad look for the hands, where they're more blocky. I find that to look pretty cool, very interesting, and it's easier to make hands look dynamic when the more blocky you make them. I mean, of course, there's a threshold where you don't want to make them just look like blocks unless that's the look you're going for. But I like the not realistic, slightly cartoony, but very dynamic looking hands. Especially if you're trying to add more tension, that adding like the thicker Joe Mad style hands seems to it works really well with that. I tend to draw hands like with the more tension. I'll show the tendons of the hands, the back of the hands. I'll do that even if they're I'll do that even if they're wearing gloves. Like just pop them out more, which I think adds to a lot more dynamicism. Dynamicism. I don't think I'm saying that right. All right. Anyway, so yeah, the grays are blending well. I think I already said that. The greens, though, it's annoying. I'm sure I could get them to blend good, but I mean, that's just gonna have to be for the future. I'll keep this in mind and experiment around, I guess. The selection that I got from this Artex, I got the anime. It was like a pack of 120 markers. They're like anime colors, I believe it said. And then the other one was skin tones, and that was a marker set of 30. So 150 total. I mean, the good thing is that none of the markers are doubles or anything. But the grays, there wasn't that good of a selection of grays, I don't think. So I don't know if I'll wherever I could get a better, or I'll just, if I need to, I'll just buy tube, a couple of tubes, because you could blend acrylic not markers, acrylic paints. I'd, I don't know. I don't see myself doing that either. I'm kind of lazy, like I said. Whatever. I'm not really a painter anyway. It's just something I kind of dabble in on the side, and nothing that I would be confident in for taking commissions, unless you count the remarks as a commission. In that case, I'll, even though I don't do those very often, but I will do my best at them. However, like you can see, this is pretty close to my best for the remarks that I got up on the YouTube channel. So you could expect that if you back the Kickstarter at that level. The teal, I don't think I mentioned that. So there's like a more teal looking green there. That I picked that when I was swatching these colors. I was swatching them on a sketchbook like right next to me on this drawing table. So the teal was supposed to be the mid tone for the greens. However, like I had a bunch of these markers out. It was like three for every shade, like her skin, her hair, her the green, and then the grays. So, oh, not her skin. Her skin. It was just I was just gonna use a white one, so I had two for those, and then the white for the highlights. So that teal color for the greens that got mixed up, and I thought that that lighter green that I put for her chest armor, I thought that was the mid tone. But then when I was going over the pouches, I was like, oh, this is the mid tone. So I was using that, and I didn't want to try to bring the mid-tone and try blending the highlights with the green again, because I already hassled with that for, I don't know, it was probably like 30 minutes, 20 minutes. It felt like a long time. And her hair turned out really good. I like how it turned out. I was using the yeah, the reference from the Evo comic. Let's see. Now I'm oh, this is the highlights that I'm putting on for the grays. I didn't want to like make the highlights stand out too much, especially the her shoulder pad that's kind of covered up by her hair, or it should be a little covered up by her hair, blocking a lot of the light. The gun looks different than the gun she's holding on the cover of her there. It's on the bottom right of the screen. I don't know. When I was drawing the gun for the cover, I was trying to get this cover done like really quick so I could send it off to Tanya to get colored and then set up the Kickstarter page. But I wasn't really happy with it because I think I referenced it a little too much to look like a normal 9mm kind of type gun. Excuse me. Well, whereas this gun, I don't think there's too many that really look like it. Other than, I mean, there's all guns have the barrel and a handle. How I'm guessing anyway. Like all the guns I've ever seen anyway. Uh, let's see. So yeah, I just wanted to make that gun look a little different, and that's why it looks different from the gun that she's holding. Now I'm doing the standard, or I did the standard how to do leather, where you black out the shaded spots and then just leave open where there's more reflection to be filled with color or highlights, and then hatch in that direction, whichever, going along the contours of whatever surface it is. In that case, it's her bicep. There's like more elaborate ways to texture everything. Leather, though, I just want to keep it simple. So I'm doing the same thing with her gloves. That's another one that I'm just eyeballing. I didn't, because like I said, that the hand reference pack, it didn't, not that I remember anyway, it didn't have anything where they have gloves or leather gloves. So I was just eyeballing how reflections would go on that. It looks fine to me. And here's, yeah, I'm starting to do some hatching. I was keeping in mind when I was doing the hatching, I was being reminded of Todd McFarlane, how he does hatching in some cases, where he'll do like the line, where that line right there where I'm drawing on her boob plate, where it's like the breaking where the two light sources kind of meet up. One is the bounce light, the other is the more direct light, and then you add like hatching that crosses along that line, the breaking line point. I noticed Todd McFarlane does that a lot. I think it looks cool, so I was like, I'll do that and refrain from, because I do want to like start referencing. I mean, start hatching and cross hatching underneath where it's darker, and kind of use that as like the bounce light. But I tried to make it a little darker with acrylics to take place of that hatching, and I consider that a little bit of a win. It's like, okay, don't hatch the crap out of this thing. This is just, let the paint speak for itself. And like I said, it was really trying to emphasize, this is, just think of this as practice. It's for a giveaway. So don't go all in unless someone pays for it and backs at the remark level. um, and uh, let's see. So, and then these things, these Master's Touch marker pen markers. Oh, did I already mention that? Yeah, that they're not as dark, and they look great when you first put them down, but when they dry, that's when you notice because the when they dry, the black isn't as black as the acrylic black there. So I went over it again a few other times. I think I'm doing that right now, and I'm just noticing that once it dries, it's like, okay, so this is not getting darker. It just it's like a regular level black, I guess. And I was doing all of this before I was going to go on an interview stream and talk about my comic with Rob Norton. But when you step away from something, come back with looking at it or having not looked at it for a while, you start to notice some things. And I thought, yeah, I was noticing I wanted to make the outline a little bit more darker. So while I was waiting to get on stream with him, he had some last minute issues. So I was just going doing a bit of outlining with the micron marker. You can't really pick it up on here. Like the darkness of the outlines there. But I did that, and this is like towards the end part of before I went on stream with him, and then now the lighting slightly changed. Now I'm going back in because like I wanted to change that hair. I forgot I was going to change that hair part, so I'm covering that up, layering it with white to push it in the background or cover it up, and just doing like little things that I wanted to touch up with the highlights and darkening some of the lines with the microns. I might have already done that when I was or finished that up when I was waiting, and that wasn't on camera. But you can't really tell, like I said, unless you're actually looking at the piece. But this was a lot of fun anyway. Like, and doing something different is keeps me more occupied. I do like to draw Sakal, but with the paint markers, it's like you're doing the same thing over and over. Starts to feel like I was trying to add highlights on her chest area, but with the white, it didn't work out. So I'm just going back over with the regular highlight. And here I'm trying to like uh, put some of the green highlight down and then drag it with that paper towel to mimic blending, but it wasn't going to the effect I wanted, and I didn't want to start covering up the lines that I already put down because I outlined this thing probably 4 times, and I didn't want to have to keep doing that again. So I'm still going ahead with that master's mark, I guess. All right. Well, if you made it this far in the video, I mean, congratulations, you passed to the next level. I'm kidding. Uh, Thanks, though. That's awesome. It's always cool when, yeah, people, leave comments or likes and subscribe to, because, it's like, oh, wow, my work is being appreciated. That's feels pretty cool. Oh, and I was trying another technique since these skin acrylic markers don't quite cover up. You got to layer them a few times so the color underneath shines through. It shines through. It's like transparently seen through. The That's what I was trying to do. That's I went in with a darker color to pop out her cheeks. The cheek shadow and stuff. It didn't come out to the effect that I wanted exactly, but I mean it's all right. And then I'm trying. I keep noodling around with this to where basically you can't even tell that I put that under makeup on makeup. acrylic paint on. All right, looks like I got about 12 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever. Yeah, I'll leave the link for the Kickstarter in the description, Tanya's link in the description. And yeah, I guess that's really all I can think of. All right, take it easy, everybody.